Righteous you may be. I'll take you there to be. All right. Welcome to the Weird Show. It's Russell Dowden, your host of this fast-moving, unexpected journey of total weirdness that I call the Weird Show. This is Cyborg and the Robo-Pimps. Yeah. I'll have your soul tonight. There we have that Cyborg. I'll Sell Ya is the track. You can check that out on YouTube. Good friend of mine, Cyborg Sam. Now their band is called the Tech Ridge Boys, I believe. Good stuff, though. Doing a weird show tonight. Talking ETs, UFOs. The new documentary came out here this week. I watched about 3/4 of it before I came to the office this evening. And that is the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is the new documentary that has come out by Dr. Stephen Greer and the guys over at the CSETI Institute. And CSETI, of course, is the Center for the Studies of Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And his new documentary has just come out. And I have a clip I wanted to show of the new film. Let me turn the robots down. I'll sell ya. Yeah, this is the documentary, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Let me just play this clip, and then we'll talk about it here after this brief clip.
Oh my God!
Oh, the question is often asked: when will UFO disclosure happen?
Like they keep come together?
The answer is it has.
The New York Times revealed the existence of a secret government program to investigate UFO sightings.
It's a very complicated story. I have put a briefing together for every president since Bill Clinton. Interplanetary war. This is the next big thing that they want the public to be afraid of.
Which is a national security imperative.
We must have American dominance in space.
But it's all a lie.
The national security state, they want to establish a planetary government by spinning that this is a threat.
One set of facts, two narratives. The threat isn't extraterrestrial. The threat is covert human.
The Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind protocol, developed by Dr. Greer, is the most dangerous information he has released to the public. Human-initiated communication with extraterrestrials is possible.
All of us are going to know the truth. This is our moment.
We have the ability to change life for the better.
Consciousness isn't limited by space and time. What I'm doing with CE5 is the foundation for the relationship between humans and these extraterrestrials.
The implications are absolutely profound. It shows consciousness does affect reality.
A critical mass of people can shift an entire civilization. But the intelligence community don't want the public to know. They say, what's in it for me? It's easy. A new world, if you can take it.
Oh my God.
So there you have it. That is the Stephen Greer documentary that is just came out the other day. That one is the new one. They had their Sirius was one that came out a couple of years ago. This is the latest one. I saw it last night, and got to only about 3/4 of that program today, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So Steve Greer, if you don't know, is the gentleman that does the CSETI stuff, and their website is over here. I guess I should have pulled that up. I think it's cseti.org. Kind of put an I in there, but yeah, Center for Studies of Extraterrestrial Intelligence is the website for Dr. Stephen Greer and his group, and that one there is the latest that had just come out. I believe it's all available on. You can check it out on either YouTube. I watched it on Amazon Prime. I think it's also on Vudu. Oh, check out all your digital platforms if you want to check that one out. But again, Stephen Greer's Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind is the new documentary that they have just released. I believe it came out last week, so I got a chance to check this out. And not always a big fan of everything that Stephen Greer has done, but I think, you know, he's been in this fight for a long time. I remember back to 94 or 3 when he was on the Aliens in the Desert with part of that panel with Larry King in the desert in the early 90s. That was a big one with Stanton Friedman, Glenn Campbell, and Randall. Got them all, but can't think of Randall's last name. He was one of the Roswell investigators. But Stephen Greer appeared on that program many years ago talking about the Disclosure Project and his work. I think this one's interesting with a lot of the footage that they have in the new documentary film, so it's interesting to see that. I think the good work that he's done is to try to get people to realize about disclosure, and I think that's part of the good things that he's done. I know he catches a lot of heat and gets a lot of criticism, but there's the other documentaries were Unacknowledged, which was, I believe, the second one, and the first one is that Sirius, the one that I was mentioning to you guys a little bit ago. So there's now 3 that are produced by Stephen Greer and the guys over at Disclosure. The latest one is the one that we just showed the trailer of, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And this is where these guys are actually initiating contact, going out doing meditations in the desert, trying to get guys involved with lights. They're using cameras and doing a lot of video, and then you go back and it's very interesting. Some of the stuff they're claiming, you know, is ETs, but there's definitely UFOs coming out when they are doing these big gatherings in the desert. So I think some of that's pretty interesting in and of itself. So that's the fifth kind. You all know the J. Allen Hynek created the Close Encounters of the First, Second, and Third Kind. If you're seeing something, second kind, I believe it's landing trace cases or something in, you know, it leaves a trail or a gas or leaves some kind of a trace. Second kind. Third kind is seeing the ETs. Fourth kind is, I don't know, interacting with the ETs. I guess what Dr. Greer's doing with this one is just saying that, hey, the fifth kind is where they themselves are initiating that contact. And so very interesting, this kind of perspective of Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. So that's something new. They do talk about the possibility of, you know, this, Trump's mentioned the space fleet, and there's some talk in there of, you know, the potential of using the, you know, space fleet and using, trying to build up this war against an ET force, and they want to do this, and this is something they've been talking about doing a long time. The Brookings Institute's famous for their proposed study on peaceful space activities for human affairs. There's some recent ones here too on the Brookings website. Launch, taking Colorado's economy to the next level. Well, this was the report I'm referring to, the 1960 report that was done for NASA in 1960. The Brookings Institute and the military think tank put together the proposed studies on the implications of peaceful space activities for human affairs. And this was the famous Brookings Institute report, as everybody in the ufology groups often just call it that. But it was believed in here that they, had a section that people would freak out if they ever became aware of an ET presence. And so what we've been hearing in the UFO community for a long time now has been that there would be playing that UFO card would be actually just saying, hey, we are under a threat, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to have military buildup, and we're going to use that as an excuse to, I guess, further domination or create their new world order or whatever it is they want to do. But with that, playing that UFO card would galvanize the public as a global community, and then they can implement their technologies and try to control us. And these are theories that are out there with the UFO community, and one of them believes in that theory is that the people would, they would use their own technology, which is highly advanced. These are the secret space programs or the programs that are highly classified. They would be able to use these programs for producing their UFO and their alien invasion. So a lot of people make that argument. And there's you look at the report and you click on the PDF there. I think you can actually open it up and actually go in here and read. I believe some of the more controversial parts of it were probably the ones they featured in here. So you can look up the Brookings Institute's report, and you'll find that information is out there. Implication of discovery of extraterrestrial life. Yeah, they just really believing it's affecting technology, religion, economics. That's kind of really the big problem with a lot of that, and that they didn't want to they had to keep the ET stuff under wraps, and so that's partly why this is all disclosure hasn't ever come out about UFOs or ETs or any of that. It's because the Brookings Institute report advised that it wouldn't be a good thing. People would freak. So, book I'm reading right now too, selected by Extraterrestrials: My Life in the Top Secret World of UFOs, Think Tanks, and Nordic Secretaries. This is by William Tompkins. He passed away about a year or two ago. Dr. Michael Salla from exopolitics.org is working on a follow-up book with notes from William Tompkins before he passed. This one's very interesting as it talks about Bill Tompkins and his having been involved in various programs. McDonnell Douglas, he was recruited very young and then to the U.S. Navy and designed allegedly spacecraft for the U.S. Navy. And started off very young as a 16-year-old into the U.S. Navy during the World War II, and there was intelligence coming in from Europe, according to this book, and the work Dr. Salla has done. The late Jim Mars used to talk about how the Nazis had a big ET UFOs in their possession at the end of World War II. And a lot of that has rumored that technology ended up down in Antarctica. But great book I'm reading right now with Selected by Extraterrestrials, kind of mixing up that one as I'm finishing the last part of that. I'm also reading Lynn Kasten's new book, Dark Fleet: The Secret Nazi Space Programs and the Battle for the Solar System. This one's really interesting as it's starting to get into the things that happened post-Project Paperclip, which enabled the Nazis and their alleged reptilian partners to infiltrate the U.S. military-industrial complex, which includes the CIA and NASA. And so this is a very interesting book. Lynn has written several other books on the Project Serpo, which was the alleged program that was an exchange program with the Serpo and the United States military to have an exchange program. That book I have not read, but I've seen videos about it, and I'm familiar about it because that was what loosely Close Encounters of the Third Kind was loosely based on, Project Serpo. This book here, though, is dealing with the fact that Nazis didn't lose the war at all. No, they won and relocated to the supposed bases there in Antarctica, And then, of course, Project Paperclip, these guys came over and obviously made their way into NASA, McDonnell Douglas, TRW, and various IBM, all of the industrial military complex in those contracts. Dark Fleet is a very interesting read. He has also written Alien World Order. I have not read those. This is the first book I'm reading about the Nazi and the Dark Fleet, but there's alleged space programs that are out there according to sources in the book. The U.S.-led secret space program and their fleet of ships known by names like Solar Warden or Space Armada, or the Solar Warden Space Armada, which patrols the edge of the system and poses a growing threat to the Nazi Dark Fleet, which is what a large part of this book is about, is the Nazi programs. So those are two of the books that I've been checking out and getting interested in. But this was the new documentary that Stephen Greer just came out with. If you're into that stuff, check that one out. I have not finished it, but it looks like something I'm gonna continue to watch. And I'd like to see what they do with. I like the stuff that Dr. Greer does. It's certainly interesting and has merit. So I like that stuff, and I think you guys should check it out if you're into this stuff. We seem to have a lot of fun with that paranormal and all of that. So I like to play around with that again. And having been involved and done Weird magazine for a long time, we like that kind of stuff. So it's been a good experience, and I'm looking forward to even putting out another edition of Weird magazine. But the Weird shows are something we're starting back up. Did those for about 2 years there in San Marcos many years back, and looking forward to getting the Weird shows back on the air and doing them here on the digital the platforms online. So we'll have those coming up. A new issue of Weird magazine will be out. I'm gonna do something with that in the summer. I want to share what I got going with that, though. Here is the cover we're working on for a new Weird, and this will probably come out, I'm thinking, late May. But we are working on another issue of Weird magazine, and so that's going to be something we're excited to bring back out. So yeah, check that out, and yeah, pick up a digital. Check out your digital platforms if you're interested in that Stephen Greer deal. I just wanted to share that because that came out. I'm going to look at that, and really, I'm just testing this new platform where. Using StreamYard now instead of OBS Studio. So StreamYard allows us to go out to 3 or 4 different platforms, 5 actually, up to simultaneously. So I'm playing with that. But stay tuned for more Weird Show. My co-host James and I will be back on Wednesday at 9 p.m. We'll be going live again Wednesday. And I want to say hi to Paige Overland, who was saying hi on the chat here. Pat Kerrigan dropped in. Cyborg Sam himself checked in and wanted to say hi to Heidi Hollis and Sonny Solis, former co-host, that also said hi during the show there. So we'll look forward to those coming up in the future, guys. And more Weird Show coming Wednesday at 9 p.m. Thanks. It's Russell. Just saying bye. Thanks for tuning in.